Reddit Storytime. Confessions Episode 1. I assumed a Mont's identity and opened false bank accounts. When I was 12, yes 12, that is not a mistake, I was at the DMV and copied down the social security number and birth certificate info of the person in front of me and then used the information to open multiple false credit card accounts online and bought a shit loss of stuff and took out 2 huge cash advances every day for a month and then burned and buried the cards and never spoke of it. I probably stole about $25,000. Much of which I had moved around through PayPal accounts and prepaid debit cards to keep the money clean before shutting down my operation. I don't feel bad because I was stealing from corporate America. I made over $5,000 by selling my soul to superstitious people. One day me and my friend were joking about selling our souls to one another. That made me think, what if I start selling my soul to people believing in the supernatural? Since I sold my soul to 5 different people. I keyed my parents' car the day they had to turn it into the dealership. You're in luck. Because this story is super short. When I was around the tender age of 6 years old, my parents took me with them to a car dealership exchange in our truck for another car. I was bored. This was before I had a DS, or any other form of entertainment for a child who's bored at a car dealership. So I decided to do what I liked to do, and that was draw. I had found a paper clip on the ground right next to the car and I used it to carve out a letter, H for Honda. We didn't have a Honda, I was just an idiot of a child. Anyway, I felt so bad and my parents were so upset. IDK what happened after, but I know we still got a new car. I was arrested, then covertly stole my records and destroyed them. As a young teenager, a friend and I were charged with shoplifting over $100 worth of lingerie from a large department store and I was permanently banned from all of their stores. Because I was so young and wasn't caught committing any other crimes, I was able to have the criminal charge expunged from my record when I turned 18. It is relevant to the story that, in my later teens, my dad legally changed his last name, and therefore so did I. When I was beginning my adult life and looking for a job, I applied to a different location of the store, because, well, I needed a job and I was applying to a bunch of places. I did not expect to be hired. But I was. I ended up working at the central location of the chain, where they kept records for all the stores. I worked for loss prevention, catching idiots like myself shoplifting, and learned the obvious mistakes I had made attempting my crime. We also screened all potential new hires to see if they had ever been caught committing a crime at any of the store locations. I learned that I was only hired because I had a different last name than the one I had at the time of my arrest. But I kept worrying that I would be found out and be in trouble. Loss prevention had keys and access to every place in the whole building, and I discovered that I had access to the hard copy records of all shoplifting arrests at every location. This was years ago, before computer databases were used for that kind of thing. One day, when the rest of the team was busy doing something else, I snuck into the room with the records and located the file under my former name. I also found the record of the friend I was with because my name was mentioned in her file, too, and I smuggled both files out and destroyed them. Finances several trips to Europe by lying on my second job time card. Mid-90s, a friend and I got data entry jobs at a temp agency. We weren't supervised and quickly learned that we were way faster at data entry than they assumed. We would work our regular day jobs, grab dinner, and go to our second job at 5:30, punch in, do enough work to look good, go out for a beer and come back to punch out a few hours later. We did this for like 2 years, during which time we were never questioned or caught. We took time off to travel to Europe together 3 times and even sent postcards to the office. The weird thing was that they absolutely loved us. The whole office was middle-aged women who lived in the burbs. No way any of them were coming back downtown to check on us. Best job I ever had. Over the last 7 years, I've stolen thousands of dollars from people's cars. This is a throwaway because obviously I don't want to lose my job or face any legal issues if it's traced back to me. I'm an automotive technician at a very popular car dealership in the US. I service anywhere between 5 to 8 cars a day depending on appointments and day of the week. It all started when one day I was finishing up with a customer's vehicle, and I noticed several bills deep between the seat and middle console. Temptation got the best of me, and I looked around to see if any of my coworkers could see me and shoved my hand down and grabbed the cash. I went to the bathroom to count it and it was $55. I had adrenaline pumping through me for the rest of the day from fear of the customer noticing and reporting it. Days went by, and it never happened. I got addicted to the adrenaline and started looking through people's compartments and all the nooks and crannies of a vehicle. I get a lot of expensive vehicles and you would be surprised at how many people just shove $20 and $50 bills everywhere in them. Most of the time it's just loose dollar bills and fives from drive-through money and change. I've taken that too. One day I got sloppy and my coworker caught me and asked what I was doing when I was looking under the seats when I was supposed to be working underneath the car. I just said that I thought I lost the keys and luckily he bought it. I was paranoid after that, so I stopped. In total, I've stolen enough money to buy myself expensive watches, video games including a console, and drinks at the bar with my buddies. I've made modifications to my own car, and even bought myself 2 flat screens. I'm still paranoid to this day that my coworkers have seen me but just haven't said anything. I feel guilty, but it doesn't change the fact that I've probably stolen someone's grocery money or kid's birthday money. There's probably more people like me, so next time you take your car to the dealership, make sure you don't have money sitting around. When I was 10, I vandalized the school bathrooms in red pen and blamed it on someone else. When I was 10 years of age, I vandalized my school bathroom with red felt tip. When my year was questioned in assembly, I got really nervous and at the end of assembly, I told teacher that it was another student, who got suspended for a week or two. I felt bad then and I still do now, even though it was in the past. I intentionally broke the work computer so my boss would get a better one. Long story short, I work in a shop where a computer is required, basically an internet cafe, and my boss, being the cheap asshole he is, forces me to work with a shitty 2008 Samsung laptop with the shittiest specs, so slow and makes my interactions with customers awkward and my job painfully harder than it should be. I've been asking him to get a proper computer for months, arguing that it would benefit him more than me, and it would. His argument is always, this little guy got me to where I am now, he's our good omen. Despite being perfectly capable of buying a PC with decent hardware with his bloody pocket change. Today I had enough, so I just poured water on it, wiped it out and let it dry. To my surprise it would still turn on, but the keyboard is fucked. So, now he's forced to get a better PC. When I was a kid, I carved my sister's name into the inside door of our parents' car, blamed her for it, and got away. I was pretty young at the time, had to have been about 7 or 8. My sister is about 2 years younger, so she would have been around 5 or 6 maybe. I was really bored waiting for my mom to get out of the store. My dad would drive us around the parking lot until mom got out, and it would feel like an eternity. One day I decided to carve my sister's name into the door. I don't remember my intentions. I know they weren't malicious and I wasn't trying to frame her, but as a dumb kid it just made sense to carve her name there. My mom finished shopping and we went home. Once we got out of the car, my parents noticed the carving. Now what happened must have been a stupid chain of events, because I never can make sense of how this happened. My parents must have forgotten which seat we were sitting in, because obviously I had to be the one to have done it. They saw her name and immediately started scolding her. Probably scared the hell out of her into a panic, because when they asked, after accusing Not the greatest parenting move on their part, but they were great parent overall. She agreed it was her. I stood there shocked and relieved, but also slightly guilty. I knew she had my back and it kind of shaped me covering her ass in the future. A little while back I brought it up to her as we were joking and reminiscing on the past. I was getting ready to thank her for that moment of covering my ass. Me, remember that time mom and dad found your name carved in the car? Sister, OMG. Yes. I can't believe I did that. I don't even know what I was thinking carving my name into the door. My eyes got big and I just laughed with her. To this day no one knows I did it. Not even my sister. She actually thinks she truly carved her name into the car door. Now part of me feels more guilt, but I'll never come clean. I die with this one. Subscribe to this channel for more Reddit confessions. Thanks for watching.